Impact of Influence.
Covering true crime throughout the Southeast.
Hello, friend. Matt Harris and Seton Tucker, always grateful that you're going to spend time with us today. We'll be talking about something that happened with a U.S. state representative for South Carolina and how that's going to lead to some lawsuits. Get to that in a moment. But Seton, if they want to join in the conversation.
You can find us on Facebook at Impact of Influence, also on our YouTube channel.
When you get to the YouTube channel, hit subscribe and please share and rate both the YouTube channel and the podcast. That is much appreciated. And of course, we're part of the Evergreen Podcast Company and hope you'll support our sponsors like Quince, Quince, so we can continue to do this for you and for us. So let's start this up. For February 10th, 2025, United States Representative for South Carolina, 1st Congressional District of South Carolina, Nancy Mace, gives what she called a scorched earth speech on the floor of the U.S. House of Representatives. During the speech, she labeled 4 men as sexual predators.
Yes, and while Mace was speaking, she had a poster displayed. And on this poster were pictures of these 4 men that she mentioned. And above their photos was the word predators in bold print. And below the pictures, it says, "Stay away from." And I think after the speech, she hung this poster outside of her congressional office.
Now, we should note that all 4 men have denied the allegations made by Mace. There have not been any formal charges.
No. And she did speak for, close to an hour.
Oh, yeah. It was an hour. And so we've whittled that down for you a bit. I'm going to play some of it now and more of it in a future episode. Are you ready to hear some clips from the start?
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, I rise today to call out the cowards who think they can prey on women and get away with it. Today, I'm going scorched earth. So let the bridges I burn this evening light our way forward. In November 2023, I accidentally uncovered some of the most heinous crimes against women imaginable. We're talking about rape, non-consensual photos, non-consensual videos of women and underage girls, and the premeditated, calculated exploitation of women and girls in my district. Today, you will hear about the depraved men behind these gutless and evil acts. These men didn't just harm their victims, they recorded their depravity as if it were a badge of honor. When I uncovered evidence of rape and the illegal filming of women and sex trafficking, I didn't just see victims. I saw a system that failed to protect them. I saw criminals who thought they could get away with it because no one had the guts, no one had the courage, no one had the bravery to hold them accountable because we are filled with cowards. I will burn this system to the ground if I have to. These men aren't just criminals. They are predators, and you can see the names and the faces of these predators on this board to my right tonight. These predators are not untouchable. These predators are not invisible, and these predators are not invincible. And today, their names will be tied to their crimes and their cowardice forever.
So obviously that gets everybody's attention.
Yeah, some pretty serious stuff. We have rape, illegal photos and videos, sex trafficking, pretty serious stuff.
And in this next clip, again, remember this is about an hour-long speech, so we're taking parts of it and kind of mashing it together. But in this next clip, she gets into more details about what she says she found.
To Eric Bowman, Patrick Bryant, Brian Musgrave, and John Osborne, you have bought yourself a one-way ticket to hell. It is nonstop. There are no connections. So I and all of your victims can watch you rot for an eternity. Today is about justice. On the night of October 30th, 2023, I received a text message with screenshots from a friend of mine in South Carolina. It showed my then fiance, Patrick Bryant, active on a dating app. In South Carolina, politics is a blood sport. I thought this was your usual run-of-the-mill political game. I thought it was a joke. When I confronted Patrick Bryant 4 days later, on November 3rd, the first thing he did was take his phone and put it in a safe and lock it. It was so confusing. I didn't understand, why would someone put their cell phone in a safe and lock it? After more women came forward, I realized this was not for laughs. Soon after, I learned the dating app was the very least of my worries. Let me make clear, I don't care that he was on a dating app. 2 days later, Patrick Bryant put my thumbprint on his phone. He also gave me the 4-digit code to his safe. The night that I was given legal access to his phone, I opened it for the first time. And what I discovered shocked me to my core. One of the first videos I saw was of a woman. She was incapacitated, and she was being raped. I found some photos of what appeared to be a teenager undressed in the kind of underwear a child would wear. To me, the facial expression of this young woman, young girl, teenager, looked scared and nervous. I saw another video of another woman who was undressed, clearly on a camera, unaware she was being filmed. She was slender, and she had long brown hair. I turned up the volume to hear if there was audio. I heard my voice. I zoomed in on the video, and that woman was me. My entire body was paralyzed, and I couldn't move. Were my feet on the floor? Was I breathing? I have no idea. I could feel pain shooting out of my heart, out of my chest, drop straight down to the floor like I was in a nosedive. The pain running through my veins wouldn't stop. Time was suspended for a moment. This monster stole my body. It felt like I had been raped. He stole my body without my permission, without my knowledge, and without my consent. This hidden camera that I found was at a property owned by Patrick Bryant and his business partner, Brian Musgrave. I found an app where at least one of the hidden cameras I discovered was stored. I discovered on this app, for this tiny little camera, there were 10,633 videos on it. Let me repeat. Just one camera I found had 10,633 videos on it.
Obviously, very, very disturbing accusations made by Nancy Mace. She says she was a victim. We should point out that the 4 men that she mentioned have not been charged with anything and all deny all the accusations made by Nancy Mace.
Okay, so this speech was given on February 10th of 2025, and on February 27th, 17 days later, Eric Bland and Ronnie Richter sent a letter on behalf of their client, Brian Musgrave of Fort Mill, South Carolina. Now, he's one of the men mentioned in Mace's speech.
And Bland and Richter handled many of the Murdaugh victims from the Murdaugh financial crimes. So you probably have heard those names before.
So in the letter, it says, you upended Brian's life when you accused him falsely of being a rapist, predator, and sex trafficker. He is none of those things. Brian is a loving husband to Jen, his wife of 22 years, and a loving father to his 2 children.
It also says Brian's only connection with the events you describe in your address is that he happens to own an interest in a beach condominium where these events allegedly took place. As you know, Brian owns the condo with his lifelong friend and your ex-fiance, Patrick Bryant. For Brian and his family, the condo represents an investment and a place where they gather for family vacations. For Patrick, he periodically occupied the condo as a paid tenant. Brian was aware that his friend had placed a camera in plain view on top of the refrigerator in the kitchen. In fact, it would be impossible for anyone entering the condo not to see the camera. Patrick told Brian that he used the camera to monitor his minor children and ensure they were not trying to get into the liquor cabinet when he was not there to provide direct supervision.
Now, the letter indicated that Musgrave did not own this camera. He did not have a password or any ability to access the camera. He never recorded or viewed anything on the camera. He also was not sure if Mace was referring just to this camera that he was aware of, but if there were other cameras on the property, he did not have knowledge of those.
In the letter, it says that he had met Mace, he's talking about Brian, had met Mace on a, quote, handful of occasions when he was aware of their tumultuous relationship between Mace and Patrick Bryant.
The letter also says that he was in contact with he was contacted by a reporter with the Wall Street Journal on the afternoon of February 10th. Now, this is before the speech. And that he became aware at this point that his name would be spoken on the floor of Congress later that evening, and that he was being accused of being a rapist and a sexual predator. Again, this was before Mace gave his speech. And then the letter also talks about several statements made by Mace on X after her speech.
So we should point out, we haven't even mentioned this yet, there is immunity for senators and congressmen when they speak on the floor.
Right, and I want to probably have my dad come on and talk a little bit about this. This was the first I became aware that there was immunity for what you said on the House. Did you know that?
I did not know that, and I want to dig deeper into as to why that is. Doesn't seem like you should just be able to get up and accuse people of things, especially if it's not pertaining to a specific bill or something that's about to pass, and maybe this is somewhere.
You know, in this same time frame, there was another journalist, Matt Taibbi, who has filed a similar lawsuit for something. There was a speech on the floor where a congresswoman said what he says are defamatory things, and he's not suing her for what she said on the floor. He's suing her for comments she subsequently made on social media. So these two cases, I think, are very tied together and just interesting legally.
Because she did continue to do stuff on social media, not just on the floor.
Right. And the letter references some of the things that she said on social media.
And also the fact, I would imagine it would be part of it, is the big sign that was not on the floor that she hung outside the office.
Right. Is that still protected as part of her speech? So finally, the letter asked Mace to do one of the following things within 10 days of the letter being sent. Either show evidence in form of metadata that links Brian Musgrave to any of these things, retract the allegations made against Brian, and issue an apology. And if she refuses to do either of those options, we will bring an action to test the limit of your protection under the speech and debate clause. This is what you say, or I think it's called the Westfall Act.
Yeah, I really want to figure out why it exists. There's got to be a reason why they decided for it, and where does it stop? Again, there's no way to know whether Nancy Mace is telling the truth or not, so I don't want to diminish it as if we're questioning it. I just question the law on this.
Right. Like exactly what are the reasonings behind, you can say whatever you want, but it's the same thing with the court of law. So I think it's kind of a similar thing. You can't be sued for testimony that you give for defamation in a courtroom.
But is this testimony? That is the question, right?
Well, I think it is testimony.
Yeah.
I think that's probably the reasoning, but again, I'm just guessing.
On March 15th, a lawsuit was filed in the Charleston Division of Federal Court of South Carolina by Musgrave, which has been assigned to Judge Richard Gergel. Explain why they know that name.
Well, you might remember he was the federal court judge who presided over Russell Laffitte's trial, Corey Fleming's trial. Also, when Murdaugh's financial crime trial, he was the one who sentenced him. He did plead guilty. And he's also presiding over the federal defamation lawsuit that Buster Murdaugh has filed.
Which has continued to go on.
Still working on that.
In the lawsuit, it also says quote, the speech and debate clause of the U.S. Constitution does not grant immunity for defamatory statements scattered far and wide by email, press, and electronic media.
Yes, it does not transform the floor of Congress into a sanctuary for defamation, nor does it protect Congresswoman Mace's extra-congressional defamatory statements surrounding her speech.
Yes, so
That's what they say in the lawsuit. And I guess Musgrave is seeking to recover what was wrongfully taken from him, his good name and reputation.
And they came out strong. Brian and his wife did a sit down with a couple interviews, or at least one with Bland, and they are out there pushing their innocence.
Now, after this, one of the men who was also named in Mace's speech, Eric Bowman of Sullivan's Island, South Carolina, told the South Carolina Daily Gazette that Musgrave's lawsuit is the first, but it won't be the last. And unfortunately, there will be more lawsuits, and they will last for years.
As part of the letter that he wrote.
No, that's not the letter he wrote.
Not the letter, but that is what he said.
The quote he gave to the South Carolina Daily Gazette.
And that was true, as it turns out. Mace filed suit against Bowman on May 12, 2025. There's also a lawsuit filed by Jane Doe against 3 of the men mentioned in Mace's speech. That one does not include Musgrave. So there's going to be more, I believe, back and forth on this. And if you're on X, you see some of the things that are going back and forth and many people involved in this.
Yeah, and one of the things that has been discussed is she went pretty hard after Alan Wilson, our current South Carolina Attorney General, who has recently announced his plan to run for governor of South Carolina. So I think they're kind of political rivals.
Yeah, because Nancy Mace rumored is to be running for governor as well. Right.
So, not to say that this is politically motivated, but that was a little bit in the press.
Well, that's part of it. Not about
well,
motivated.
She's saying he's not doing his job.
Not doing his job, yeah. And we have quotes, and we're going to do the next episode. We're going to deal with how she went after SLED and Alan Wilson in her speech, so we can get some details on that. And, Alan Wilson's response to that, because she's accusing him of basically turning it around on her, not following up, SLED not following up. And I think it's best we put that in another episode altogether.
Yeah, and also the lawsuit filed against Eric Bowman of Sullivan's Island. There's been some movement in there, some interesting things. We'll play a clip of on our, the episode that we cover what she says happened at his property, as well as what the legal response has been. And
some very interesting thing from depositions that have been taken.
Yes, the depositions was in the Jane Doe case, a deposition of Nancy Mace's, I believe he was the former political advisor. I don't know if he was a campaign manager. I don't know his exact title, but Wesley Donahue was deposed. But I think Nancy Mace is questioning whether it was proper for him to have been deposed.
And when you hear it, it's pretty shocking stuff.
Yeah.
Pretty intense. All of this is super intense. Again, no charges filed in regards to Mace's congressional speech. No charges filed against the guy she mentioned. But there is a lot of meat on this bone, as they say, and we will get to that in an upcoming episode. So just stay with us, right?
Yeah, stay with us.
We are grateful, friend, and hit us up on Facebook. From there, you can get to the Impact of Influence YouTube channel, and please hit that subscribe button, support our sponsors, and we will talk soon, friend.